Feeling the thrill of battle, the clash of steel, the screaming of desperate men, all before a swift death is brought to you. And then you respawn and do it all over again. Welcome to Mordhau, the brutal online medieval battle game that will truly test your will to fight, and your skill to apply tactics on the fly. In this game, the harder you fight, the longer the fight. But don't get reckless or try to play the hero, or you'll lose your head. Mordhau is a game that I only heard about recently with its release at the end of April. The game looked to be somewhat of a spiritual successor to the likes of Chivalry Medieval Warfare, of which I never had the chance to play in its prime. As such, the allure of Mordhau was greater than I could resist. I saw trailers and clips showing off intense battle, dismemberment, and loot playing aplenty. Yep, loot playing is quite a big thing in this game. As soon as I jumped into this game, I was impressed. I expected a rough, early access style game that would be fun but messy. And instead, it's fun and messy, as limbs are flying everywhere. I loved everything about the game and was astounded by the polish and how well it played. It felt to me similar to that of the Battlefield games, but medieval. Now when I say Battlefield games, I mean the core gameplay and the fun that they offer, not the endless supplies of loot boxes. Needless to say, I was quick to fall in love with this game, and have already begun stacking up the hours day after day. There is always popularity in online gaming and the games behind it, such as Overwatch, Call of Duty, Splatoon 2 and whatnot, but they all tend to have one thing in common: guns. I mean, I'm all for a good old shootout and action-packed explosion fest as much as the next guy, but it's all guns and heroes. Because of this, Mordhau is a big deal for me. I love the medieval genre more than any other, so to have a well-crafted, intense online game is certainly a gap in my market. The only downsides so far come down to balancing and the like. You'll find loads of players using rapiers and just stabbing over and over, as it is very powerful and difficult to block. I mean, I can't really complain because if it works against your opponents in war, you're gonna do it. Some of the chat in the corner of the screen may also be questionable. I've seen plenty of childish insults and toxicity, so here's to hoping that gets closed in on in the future. I mean, I even spent an entire match just running around putting medieval jokes into the chat because I thought, why not bring something a little bit more fun to the game, being as my skills were terrible at the time. And still now, if we're being honest. All in all, I enjoyed the combat and the battle immensely, and I can't wait to see what new features get added down the line. As of right now, there are 3 modes available, as well as varying servers you can browse through and join. The modes are Frontline, your classic capture the point style matches, Battle Royale, you know what that is, and Horde. You and some other players must fight against increasingly difficult waves of AI. I'd love to see more PvE, more types of competitive multiplayer, and expansion of ways in which they can utilise the gameplay of this fun and skillful experience. There are even dedicated servers that players have set up to dueling, where people will follow the rules and honour in order to just fight one-on-one and have that fun kind of accomplishment in that situation, because the game doesn't actually offer that itself. And that's a really cool thing. I even had a moment in the middle of a match where I was chasing a player down out of the battle, and he ran up a tower, I ran after him, and then when I got to the top he didn't have a weapon anymore, he had lost it at some point, so he was ready there with his fists up. So instead, I dropped my sword and thought, you know what, I'll fight you one-on-one, just fist fight, I'm not going to slaughter you with the sword. Then I died. But you know what, I would rather have died in an honourable fist fight than slaughtered an unarmed man, so that's fine. Now I continue to wait for Mountain Blade 2. I'll remain here, patiently being constantly beheaded by horsemen with lances. Goodbye. Oh god, where's the button?